It is video recording at the moment, but I guess we can wait for it.
Okay. All right. We are going to start the meeting at 6 o'clock. Oh, I got to keep these down here so I don't fog up. So let him in. Is Mr. Twyman here? Hey, Eric. Hi, Mr. Twyman.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't talk so loud.
If you want to be like the cool kids, you got to face it so the camera shows just the top of your head.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I can.
Yep. Look, there you go.
Go get my sunblock.
Right there.
That's how we
You
roll.
can still see me in agreement, right?
Who else do we have? We've got a couple of phone call-ins. Who's that up in the corner there? Who's up in the corner? Do you know who that is?
That's Amir.
Oh. Hello. Sorry, I couldn't see you from it. I can't see anything right now. Everything's foggy. I never wear my glasses and I can't, I gotta hold, yeah. All right, so meeting has started. We were just looking over the meeting minutes. I read them, did not have any changes. So I would make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of November 16th, 2020 as written.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Do you have a pen? Do you need a pen? And Eric was absent, so I'm assuming you're going to abstain from last week's. Is that right, Eric?
Yes, I agree to abstain.
Okay. Next up, I don't have anyone in the audience. Is anyone else in the audience out there? No? No sign up? All right. Action items. We have, first up, this lovely booklet put together by PVPC. It is the Pavement Management Report. And Amir is here to present it to us. I'm assuming Rainey is on the phone there. Rainey, are you one of the phone calls? Paging Rainey. There he is.
Can you hear me?
There you are. All right. I just want to make sure you were with us.
Eric, I just.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you want to go over a little bit about the report to start off? Give us an overview, Amir?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Members of the board, Josh, Rainey. Want to say a special hello to Tom, with whom had a pleasure of working with Tom's wife, Nancy, for almost 30 years.
Oh.
I hope all is well. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come over and do this virtual meeting. Ordinarily, I would be there, but what a year this has been. So we're forced to do it this way. And so just wanted to, first of all, thank the town for making the decision to go ahead with this study. I obviously see a lot of value in it and be able to provide information regarding existing pavement conditions and where the town is, where the town can go. As you may be aware, we also provide information on planning and budgeting in this report. So it's great to see the cooperation that I received from Josh and Rainey I appreciate their help. Anytime I had a question, they were there, and they were also very willing to meet with us, which I really appreciate. So I just wanted to go over basically three parts of this report and touch on these three major information pieces. And then obviously we're going to open it up to any questions that you may have. A lot of the technicality of this report, I don't want to go over and get involved in tonight's meeting. Both Josh and Rainey have been informed of the technicality behind the scenes. But for the sake of the meeting, just wanted to report to you about first the existing pavement condition evaluation. We surveyed 34 miles of accepted paved roads in the town. That constituted 43 roadway segments for us. Our pavement management system is linked to this state's road inventory file, and the segmentation is based on that massive file that the state and Mass DOT maintains. I am happy to report to you that the average overall condition index for the town is 80. That is very, very good news. I am really happy to report that to you because working with a lot of other communities, especially the rural communities such as yours, this has topped it all. It's very good to see that, we have a highway department that actually attends and keeps the roads in serviceable condition. Happy also to report to you that, well, first of all, just wanted to, I'm assuming everybody has had a chance to glance through the report. When we say 80, this is out of 100, and 100 as an overall condition index is basically, everything is perfect. 0 overall condition index means that the roadway is impassable. So when we're talking about an 80, it is really, really good as an average. And 38% are in good condition, are rated good, and 33% are excellent. So that means to me that over 70% of the roadways in the town of Blandford are rated as either excellent or good, which again is very impressive. And I like that. I like to see that. So as far as existing condition evaluation, hats off, and this needs to continue obviously and into the future. And this is where the other section that I wanted to talk to you about of the report comes into play, which is the budget and plan. But before we get to that, the second item I wanted to touch on, which I sometimes have a pleasure of reporting on, sometimes I don't know how well that's gonna go, but every community has what we call a backlog of repairs. And there's just no way to avoid that. And over the years and decades, depending on how much money has been allocated and in terms of Chapter 90, other ways that the money can come in and be used for the maintenance of paved roads, there is no doubt that there is a backlog. And a backlog of repairs is basically how much money does it require at the moment, currently, for us to bring everything into a near perfect condition. We know that's not really reasonable in terms of, how I don't anticipate anybody, any community to come up with that kind of money. Realistically, it's not going to be there, but it's good to know for every community what that number is. And again, I'm happy to report that this is one of the lowest backlogs I have seen over the past 30 years that I've done this for the commission, working with different communities, both in the urban setting and suburbs and rural. And the backlog of repairs is almost it's just under $5 million, which again is one of the lowest I have seen. And so again, that money is, okay, if I have that money right now, I can bring all the roadways that are paved and accepted in the town into a near perfect condition. So that's another good news, that not the fact that there is a backlog, but the fact that the backlog is one of the lowest that we have seen. And the third and final part of this report that I want to talk to you about, and then we can open it up to questions, is the plan and budget process. As you can see in the report, we take the community through 2 plan and budget scenarios. One of those plan and budget scenarios is what we call anticipated budget. What that means is, if we keep going the way we're going over the next 5 years, what is going to happen? What is expected to happen in terms of the average overall condition index? Right now, we know we're talking about an 80 in the year 2020. So what would happen in 21, 22, and so on down the road? So we did this 5-year plan for the town, and having consulted with Rainey, we came up with the number that you can see as $200,000. This is the amount of funding that the highway department, on average, give or take, per year spends on the maintenance of the paved roads. And we use this money and we placed it into the software program that we use. And based on the existing conditions and the deterioration curves and how the inflation rate can work and so on, what the software does is it takes the money per year and it exhausts it based on what we call a benefit cost ratio listing or benefit value listing, until the money is almost exhausted that per year, each year. And what I want to draw your attention to is what happens in the table number 5 on page 8 of the report, where we can see that the $200,000 in funding gets expended every year, and what happens to the average OCI level or the overall condition index level. We started 80, and by the end of the year 2025, we're down to 74. So that's what is expected. With any anticipated budget, this amount of money is not sufficient to the degree that we can keep that average OCI or overall condition index at the level that that is existing. So, however, I must say that this drop that you see from 80 to 74 is one of the lowest drops, again, that I have seen over the years working with communities. And one of the reasons for that is we're already starting at 80, which is very good. This is very, very good. So the backlog also increases, as you can see from the table, of almost just under 5 million to about 8 million. And that's expected, obviously, over time. Now, that is, again, what we call anticipated. Things are going where they're going, still okay, but that drop in average overall condition index needs to be watched. I think we can do somewhat better, and that brings us to the next budget scenario that I want to present to you, which is something that I advocate to the communities, and the scenario that I would like for them to perform, which basically what it means is we want to try and maintain the average overall condition index. So what do we do? What can we do? Clearly, the expectation is to have some increase in funds and that we spend on the maintenance of the roadways. But the question is, are we talking about crazy levels of increase in funding? Is it something that's manageable? What can we do? And the way we perform this, this budget activity using the software in-house is a little bit like a trial and error. We come in, we increase the amount of funding reasonably, and we're not going to go crazy in here and, you know, add like $1 million in here that nobody has. Something that's manageable, something that can be reasonable, and then we run the budget, which takes time because it goes through 5 years of calculations and so on. Comes back, and we can then ask it to calculate the average OCI for us. So what we found was by increasing the budget from 200,000 to 250,000. So if we go up by $50,000 each year in this planning process for 5 years, we can keep the average overall condition index at an acceptable level and very, very close, if not the same as the existing level. So as you can see in table 6, page 9, we start with 80, and at the end of the 5th year, we're at 79, which is 5 points better than the anticipated budget. Also, if we look at the backlog, the column for backlog, although there is still, the expectation is that the backlog is going to increase, but the increase is not as much as what we would see or expect in the anticipated budget scenario. So I believe we were just over 8 million the end of the 5th year for backlog for anticipated budget, but now we're about 7.1. So I think by going with the budget to maintain, we are achieving 2 things that are really desirable. Trying to keep the average overall condition index about the same, and also, getting some kind of a backlog reduction over the 5 years. So those were the highlights of this report, and the rest of the report obviously is, different budget listings and maintenance activity listings for Rainey, and that he can study. And there is also an overall condition index listing by alphabetical order, and this way we can find the roadway very easily, find out what the condition is right now, and then go into the appendix and figure out, okay, what is happening to that same roadway segment 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, and so on. So again, I'm very pleased that the town decided to do this. I am very pleased to have worked with Josh and Rainey again, and the numbers are really good for the town. Thanks again for the opportunity, and any questions that you may have, I'm happy to be here and be able to answer for you.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it made a lot more sense to hear you explain it than just looking through it. Rainey,
Sure.
do you want to give us your take on how this is helpful for you? I'm sure it's incredibly helpful.
It was kind of funny that I think Josh would attest to this, that I had talked to him after we got the results of the draft, and I was very surprised, and it really made me feel quite good, because I believe their assessment was right on. I believe that the way they have processed the information couldn't be better to be more accurate for the town than anything. And what was really quite pleasing to me was, as I told Josh, it was almost verbatim of what I have a digital assessment. And the assessment that I had given and talked to Josh about, this report just reaffirmed it. So I was very happy. I think it's probably the best money the highway department has spent in a long time. And it really gives us a very solid block to build on. So that being said, I couldn't find any fault in it. I really couldn't.
Yeah, it's nice. It's confirming of all the work that you've done, you know, that the highway has done in the last few years, I think, to see us get that rating. I don't think if we had done this 5 years ago, we would have had an 80. It would have been a little bit of a different story.
For sure.
So, and it doesn't look like there's too many surprises. We knew North Blanford was going to be up there as far as the priority. Is the estimate about what we had thought it would be for North Blanford, Rainey?
Well, again, I don't know if, Josh, have you informed them of the last grant procedure?
I was gonna update them today, but.
Okay.
you know, they're aware.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. You guys are so hard.
Well, the good news is this is one of the few years they have another one coming up within 6 months. So we're going to be reapplying the same thing here.
All right.
We will definitely do a better. I know I will do a better job on presentation. But anyways, it's very fortunate that's going to be up again because our request stays fresh in their mind at that point. As far as how it's going to be addressed and everything, Josh and I have just started addressing the situation that should it not happen, how are we going to do this? And are we going to do it in sections and how much per sections? And is it going to be financially feasible to say, do one section, wait 2 years and do 2 sections? There's a lot of variables in there we got to look at.
Will this document be helpful, do you think, in writing that second grant?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah. Has this
Yeah,
changed?
it's not, at this point, it won't be just our assessment too, going to the application. It'll be with this study being done by a very reputable identity, and that would reinforce everything we're doing. So I think it's going to be very beneficial. And again, even it's totally beneficial, period, just for a baseline, because the way I remember, it was once told to me, I should look at my job as this. If I died tomorrow, how are they going to take over? How are they going to move forward? Well, you've got a pretty good, solid plan here and a good assessment that should something happen, somebody should be able to step right in and move on, you know? And that's quite critical in towns nowadays.
Has this changed any of your plans going forward, or is just sort of affirm what you had already, your schedule is already looking like for road repair?
It, I would say, if anything, it just, as far as changing, it changes my resolve and to continue on with what we've been doing.
Okay. Great. Would you recommend that we post this on our website to share, or is this something that we just use for highway use?
I think it would be very beneficial for the entire town and all the residents to see that it's not just, you know, an individual at the highway department, or it's not the select board's desire, or it's not the administrator's decision. It's something that has been by independent source looked at and made this assessment. I think it'd be beneficial for everybody to know. Yes.
Yeah, it's certainly helpful when people come forward with road complaints and we can show them this documentation.
Hey, Mayor, in the report, the 2 tables, the $200,000 funding scheme, $250,000 funding scheme, is that a combination of the Chapter 90 and local appropriation, or is that just local appropriation?
Yeah, you're coming a little weak, but I think I heard you. if I heard you correctly, the two numbers that we used, the 200,000 and the 250, well, let's talk about the 200,000. The $200,000 was in consultation with Rainey about Chapter 90. And I believe, I want to say, and Rainey can correct me if I'm wrong, that most of that 200,000, if not all of it, is Chapter 90. Is that correct, Rainey? Do I have that right?
The majority of it would be Chapter 90, which
Yeah.
would allow us a little reserve for emergency situations within the Chapter 90, but it would also be inclusive of using part of our road, our new road improvements is basically our annual budget.
So Randy, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what would, we already include in our annual budget to supplement $100,000, what would be the supportive increase to keep up with the plan as far as the local appropriation is concerned?
Well, the 200,000 came up with Chapter 90 and about 30% of the road highway budget as it is, because we also have, we still have all the non-paved roads that we have to maintain.
Mhm.
So that was using Chapter 90 to about 80% of the Chapter 90 and about 30% of the road budget from the highway. The 250 was using basically about the same in the Chapter 90, but increasing the usage of the highway budget.
So we would have
So
to,
we would
to keep
we
up
would
with-
have to probably look at increasing that, but that would be, I would say, something we have to look at annually as to what the town can handle.
Well, you're saying, what did you say, 60%? 30%.
yeah.
So that's $60,000 of the 200, right? I'm not a math whiz. So I guess it'd be safe to assume that we have to potentially increase our budget 60 grand to keep up with this plan.
To go to the 250, yes, we would eventually have to increase it. But as it stands, what me and Admir had come up with was wanting to keep some in reserve of Chapter 90 for incidentals and emergency situations. It would basically be using approximately, like 170,000 or so, 175 maybe, and the other 25 or 30 coming out of the highway budget. If we want to increase it to the 250, well, we still kind of need to keep a reserve. So it would have to be included with the raising of the highway budget.
Also, if I may, I just wanted to remind everyone that Rainey has done a lot of paving, and those roadway segments that are already in very, very good shape are going to start in the next year or two. They're going to start showing some deterioration. And I think what Josh has a good point in that we need to be able to plan for that as well. But I think the way to tackle that would be this whole notion of pavement management system, which basically, if I had to translate all of that technical jargon for you, would be keep the good roads good in order to survive. We would be, as soon as maybe even hairline cracks start developing on these roadways, we should go in there and start doing some routine maintenance to keep up with the deterioration. So, at the moment, those roads are really good. They're shiny, very, very nice to drive on. But, we go through this winter and then the freeze and thaw, and next summer, in 2022, you're gonna start seeing stuff happening where we need to come in and be very proactive.
Excellent. Eric, Tom, do you guys have any questions?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll definitely get that posted on the town site, I think people would be interested.
Sure. Thank you all. Again, thanks for the opportunity. And one last thing I wanted to mention, which I will be in touch with Rainey and Josh, obviously, later on, is that we all understand that this is not a one-time deal. This is not going to be something we do right now in 2020 and then we forget about it. I really recommend every 2 to 3 years, we can sit down and talk about maybe updating this report, this worthwhile project, so that we can keep up with the deterioration of the roadways.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amir.
Thank you. We'll be talking
Thanks,
soon.
Amir.
Next. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
So while we have Rainey here, do we want to get an update on the logging activity on Huntington Road?
You want me to?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Well, basically, I mean, the logging situation there is it's being logged for Russell Watershed. It's utilizing Blanford roads. Before I go too much further on this, I would like to make a recommendation, and I know I discussed it briefly with Josh. I'm not sure if he brought it forward. It was just recent. So if he hasn't, I understand he hasn't had the time to. But I think there should be a checklist, and it should be a mandatory part of getting a cutting plan approved in the town. 2 things. One, they supply a transportation route of equipment in the town to decide what roads they are using within our town. And 2, I think it should be a mandatory bond. I also think that it should be revised this next annual town meeting, because the amounts that are listed for a bond are ridiculously low. The example would be Huntington Road. Now, I spoke to the company in New Hampshire, I think it is. Anyway, I spoke to the gentleman. He had said that he had bid it, and this is the way it is and everything. And I said, I'm not going to allow tractor trailers going up and down Huntington Hill. Not while the ground is not frozen and we're in this kind of climate. I told him I would not have a problem so much with triaxles, but I prefer he stays off the roads until they're frozen. However, he's got a logger down there and they want to make money. I understand that point. But the point being is, as I was trying to explain to him, when you have a log truck, whether it's a tandem or triaxle, that truck is pushing the load up the hill with weight over the driving axles. When you have a tractor trailer, you have a truck driving that is pulling a trailer up. The traction differences is major. It will chop up the road and destroy it if it's tractor trailers. So he said that he was going to think about it and he would get back and, if necessary, talk with the select board. I said, that's fine and dandy. But if I see that you're using tractor trailers, I will close the road, because I don't care if it's a logger or a house builder or whatever. That road is not prepared to have that kind of traffic coming up that hill. My biggest concern is the hill. It was last year, it was full depth reclamation. We're giving it a year off before we continue on with it. But if they put tractor trailers on it, it's going to destroy the work we've done. So as far as updating, right now, I am waiting to hear from him. If he said he was going to look into it to see if there was alternative means. Again, that's the best I have at this point. I haven't spoke to him since.
Do you know where would you be willing to help create the checklist, or is there an example of one that you would like us to use?
I think there's a couple out there, but I would think that it should be customized to the town of Blanford. Because when they file a cutting plan, the problem with that is nobody is aware of the conditions of the roads they're using or how many miles they're using. So, I mean, if they came out of Huntington Road and they turned on to North Street and then went down 23, well, basically they're only using Huntington Road. But if they came out of Huntington Road and they went down Chester Road, or they went on to North Street and went down Russell Stage Road, that's a lot of more mileage that they're on our roads. So I think we need to ask them to supply a route. And then I think it should be a mandatory bond on these roads, because the bond doesn't cost. I mean, if you have $2,000 bond, if they destroy that hill, we'll spend $20,000 fixing the hill.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to do such a low rate. I know we don't want to discourage business, but in an instance such as this, Russell Watershed's making money, the truckers making money, and the loggers making money, but our roads are not being protected. And I think it's, again, should be a higher rate, but I think it should be mandatory, because the best thing about a road bond, it keeps them conscientious about not screwing up the roads. They don't want to spend their money, you know. And the thing is they're not going to, if they put up a $25,000 or $50,000 road bond, they're not putting that money up. They're paying like $450, $500. I'm not sure what the amount is for the bond. The only time that money comes out of their pocket, should they damage the road and they don't repair it. So it's just it's rather cheap insurance for the town. And I got to look, as I spoke to the gentleman, I said, I understand you're in there to make a profit, and that's all well and good. But my obligations is to the town. And if you cause $10,000 worth of damage, I don't want to be chasing you.
Yeah. Well, I was just,
So if I recall, we have that form in the highway department office because, in my very short tenure as an acting highway supervisor, I had a customer fill out the cut permit, and it required them to have a $2,000 bond.
Well, this cut permit, I never seen. Never knew it until they were doing it.
But we've also got to remember that, yeah, I agree, it's gonna be updated. Your hourly rate was half or less than what it is now when the original bond was drawn up. Ridiculous as it might be, but that's how it was. So nobody has tried to update it since.
And again, and Eric, I understand that there are pieces in the system that are there. The problem I see is they are not all collective prior to approval. I have seen in other towns where they've had checklists, and okay, conservation has to sign off. Then it would have highway has to sign off, and then it would go in for approval. So if I don't see it or I don't know of it, if I'm not chasing them down, and it gets approved, well, it's really kind of unfair to them, but it's a little late for us. I
think if I recall correctly, Rainey, the one I did was in conjunction with a road cut. So they wanted the road cut. And I don't know if these folks down there off of Huntington Road, if they got permission for a road cut from Russell or if it's an existing road cut.
Well, they didn't need a road cut because it's an existing road. It's Huntington Road, and it's where the select board has closed it, but it's an existing road. They don't have to put drainage or anything else in. So therefore, it never went through the highway department.
Sure.
So Rainey, I think the board's happy to support you with implementing a checklist. We just need to see one. I was just looking at the forest cutting plan for MassGov, and it doesn't look like there's anything on it regarding transportation or roadways.
No, typically the forestry, as far as that, the forester goes through it, your conservation signs off on it, and then you get it approved. And that's all well and good. But again, with circumstances such as this, if this did not include Huntington Hill, it probably would not be an issue at all. But the fact that it does brings up a dollar factor to me. And that's why I'm saying if we had something to where it was part of a checklist, this would have to be used. So I would be more than happy to get together with Josh and put together one, because it doesn't have to be very extensive.
Yeah.
It just has to be the specifics that need to be addressed are addressed before they turn around, they bid on this plan and they get it and it gets approved,
Perfect. And then do we know what the process would be to making that checklist mandatory? Is it just a vote of the select board or is there something else that needs to happen?
Well, I think you would have to make it part of the select board, but I think as far as changing the dollar amount, that has to go to an annual town meeting.
Yeah, the bond part we know, but just the checklist, I'm wondering if that is something that we can put in place a little quicker.
Well, I did check, and the other towns that have this type of situation, that was put in by the town administration.
Yeah, it says, I'm on the town of Boxford, Massachusetts.
Okay.
They have a thing here where it's any disturbance of vegetation, including removal of trees within areas protected. Oh, it's within areas protected by Wetlands Act. Must be approved by the Concom. I guess, you know what I can do is we have a listserv, TAs all around Massachusetts, I can put it out there.
Yeah, and see what
people respond with.
that would be helpful.
I can start there.
So I haven't quite got, I didn't quite hear everything you said there, Josh, but what I was thinking that rather than get more prescriptive, perhaps we can just talk to the Conservation Commission and get them to include what Rainey needs as part of their conservation checklist of what they do
That
from
would
the
work.
side of the house, so that when they go through their approval, it's just there and part of it.
As far as the road-
Eric, I would like to say that the communities that I'm thinking about, that's exactly what they were doing. It was conservation would just have a little part in their checklist to have it checked off by highway.
Okay. Okay.
As far as our road bond, that's up to us.
The amount is, I think, a town vote.
Well, we have to present a figure
Yeah.
to the town to vote on.
Exactly. So we need to figure out what a reasonable amount is.
Well, we gotta sit down with Rainey and take an hourly rate, take a job and figure it at that hourly rate and come up with a road bond.
We can look up an average. See
Yeah.
what- Okay. Well, thank you, Rainey. Thank you for keeping us posted on the Huntington Road situation. Let us know if there's anything else any way we can help.
Hey, Rainey, are you sticking around or you're jumping off?
No, I'm sticking around.
Okay, so. hang
I'm
around.
warming. I'm warming up right now, so.
I was gonna say, hang around for new business so we can go over the request to deficit spend.
All right. So next up, action item, we have review and take action on FY22 local receipt budget. Is this the tax recapitulation?
Yeah, it looks like this.
There's a word you don't hear every day.
Yeah, already no kidding.
Okay.
So here, these are the list of all our local receipts. You'll see column A, column B.
Mm-hmm.
Column B was what we raised, the estimation for fiscal 21, which is our current fiscal year.
Okay.
Column A is what we actually collected.
Wow.
And I'm going over this because the accountants want to confirm areas to increase or reduce or keep the same, specifically because those areas that reflect where we collected less than what we anticipated,
Mm-hmm.
the DOR wants us to budget slightly less than we actually collected. So like, for example,
Motor vehicle,
where are you looking at?
the first one up there, number 1.
Well, so there would be no action except that you can potentially increase because we estimated 165,000. We actually collected.
Oh, okay. Opposite. Sorry.
So
Okay.
you'll see kind of vaguely, it's supposed to be red, but we don't have color printer, so it says add 5K. So the accountants were recommending that here, you can potentially increase that 5 or even 10,000. That's what was estimated $165,000, we actually collected
Okay.
$224,085. Makes sense?
Yep,
And then, going down the list here, you'll see
our pilots.
other excise meals.
Okay,
There's a recommendation to reduce it to 25,000. We anticipated 33,000. We actually collected 32,580, which wasn't bad, wasn't off the mark. But what happened? COVID happened.
yeah,
We're not collecting any meals tax from the country club because they haven't been selling any food.
yeah,
I'm sure there's going to be a decrease there in the Pike. For whatever we've been collecting at the country store. I do have an email to confirm how much we've actually collected in each of those establishments.
okay,
Finance committee was interested in learning what that dollar amount was. But
Yeah.
the recommendation here was to decrease it at a much more conservative figure rather than the previously estimated 33,000.
okay,
Oh, I was supposed to call Sarah back during this discussion, was I?
yeah. We'll just remember that too.
Sorry.
So it looks like,
You want to put that money?
sure.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Stand by at the moment.
Hey guys.
Is this up all the way?
It is. and it sounds
So
like I'm
quiet. I know. I don't know.
Hear me okay?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that Tom can hear.
I got my,
You're okay? All right.
yeah, I got my loudspeakers.
All right, maybe I'll prop this like that. Okay.
So at number 3, we estimated, that's for penalties, interest on taxes and excises. We estimated 43,000. We actually collected 42,098. So the accountants were recommending there that we just reduce it to 40 even,
Okay.
to stay underneath slightly what was actually collected. Number 4, payment in lieu of taxes. Number 4, there's nothing to do there, except that, so you're aware, that's the pilot payments from Springfield. In total, during 20, we collected 284,000, but in that number also includes when they paid their bill. Remember, there was a discrepancy, we had to negotiate it, and they made their payment within the next fiscal year
Yep.
to pay what's owed from previous, so that's why that's looking higher than.
Okay.
So there's no recommendation there, just keep it the same, but that may change next year once again.
Okay.
But going down to number 8, wait, where are we now? 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
Reduce that by set to 7.
Yeah, well, number 3, penalties, interest on taxes, we estimated 43, we already talked about that one, we talked about 4. 8, solid waste fees, we anticipated collecting 15,000. The document in front of us is showing that we've collected 7,882. But we've actually collected more than that, and that's why I got Sarah on the line because I'm
Okay.
still trying. There was some confusion where it was, what accounts they were posted on versus where they should have been posted, and I know Sarah and Jen have been working together to
Okay.
figure things out there. But Sarah, I'm not sure, can you add here or talk a little bit more about,
Yeah, I can talk briefly. So, Jen and I did go over 2021 to make sure that what we've received has matched what she had. We did have to make some corrections because what we have posted were in different accounts. Now, I just want to clarify that when we asked, we wanted the account numbers on there, and there was a little confusion because when we think of revolving funds, a lot of departments are getting confused and they're putting the expense account number on there. And as a treasurer side, we can't post to an expense account. So Jen has been given the account numbers again to show that it's very important because we have to kick it back to them now. So this doesn't happen anymore. We want to make sure that we're posting everything where it's supposed to be. That being said, we did move some things around. The question now we're asking is, a lot of funds are going into the revolving account, and I know that Janice, the accountant, had sent over some documentation of annual town meetings where the town has to vote where these funds, and I should say what funds can be put into and expended from these accounts. Again, this is something that they would have to look at. The Board of Health that have to make sure that they're going by the guidelines based off of what the town meeting voted on. And so I don't really, I can't say where they're supposed to go because I don't know what they're collecting for. I can go by the description and I can question, but again, this is something that they'll have to work with the accounting and myself. I don't mind. So right now, in 2020, we've received in total $23,247.72. Now, those funds include the revolving, the perk test, and stickers and fees. What I'm showing as permits, which is a general fund account, is only $399. The revolving fund is showing $25,600. That's where Jen says they're supposed to go, so that's where they were put. I believe a portion of those funds, because they were collected in August, should have been in 2020, but the Mass General law says the funds have to be in our office by June 30th, or they have to be counted for that next fiscal year. So since we received the funds in August, we have to consider them as 2020. Now in 2020, I'm sorry, it's 2021, apologize. Now in 2020, you're right, Josh, that says $7,882. In total, we only got 10 turnovers from that department, well, 11 really, one of which was a state grant for $2,700. And so in total, the only total amount we received from Board of Health was $9,534.85. Again, the $7,882 was put into that account that you discussed that hit for the revenue. I can't speak on behalf of accounting because I'm not sure where if they pool in revolving with general fund when they come up with the revenue. That's something I can't answer, but I think accounting would easily be able to say if revolving funds and general funds are tied into that 7,000 number.
Sorry, our lights
What's that?
just turned off. Our lights just turned off. We got them back on. Sorry.
Okay. But like I said, I do know some of the funds that were collected in 2021 were funds that the Board of Health collected in 20. What that number is, I don't know because the turnover date was August 13th. She would have to pull basically the receipt. I don't know if they do receipts that they give to people or the dates that they collected funds to kind of break that down further. But as of right now, those funds are all going into the revolving account. And, you know, it is higher. Obviously, we've already got 23,000, but we'll have to decide if they're in the right bucket.
Okay.
The 23,000 is the solid waste fees or the dump stickers?
The $23,000. So the $23,000 are funds that we received from Board of Health, of which $22,728 is in this revolving fund. Trash bag fees, I think it's called, revolving fund. That's where Jen had me put the majority of the money. What you guys have to ask is accounting whether or not revolving funds.
So Sarah, I think myself, you, Janice, we can get Jen, I think we should all kind of go over and get on the same page with this, because reason being is currently, like I was explaining to you earlier on, the select board in a couple of weeks are going to be setting the tax rate. The accountants need this firmed up so that, you know, they can do what they need to do on their end as far as how much we're raising. And the way that it looks currently is that we've actually collected for solid waste fees $7,882 of the, which is, you know, much lower than what we anticipated. So that means now going forward for this year, we have to bring it to a lesser dollar amount of what was actually collected.
I agree. That's
Next
why
year,
it's
we
really
can fix
important to
it
get.
once we clean it all up.
Yes, and I agree, and that's, I think the biggest issue again is the money coming in August. In the way how, just to clarify, when we get the funds, I think that the four numbers that we were given, again, I think the confusion, and I agree, we do need to sit down again. But on my part, I don't want to confuse anybody with these account numbers. My account numbers are revenue account numbers, and that's the piece I want to be involved in. And again, let's sit down. I think Jen has those numbers now. What we have to decide is, or what she has to decide is what the town voted on of where these funds that she's collecting goes. I'm not sure if she was given those
We have
descriptions of what the town voted.
The accountants
So-
had already clarified, figured that out. That's why I think we need to all sit down, Sarah, and include you, to make sure that our treasurer is in the loop and knowing what's going on, so that when the accountants are printing these things out, that we're, things are getting posted in the appropriate spaces, and that the reports are producing the accurate information.
Right, and that's why we tried to reach out to Jen, because we have to technically post to whatever's on the turnover. We are, and we do change them, we don't want to, and actually I told Karen to stop doing that, because this is where the chaos happens, is when we're given an expense number, we get errors. So instead of kicking the money back, we tried to write notes and say, please put the right account numbers on and correspond. But now we're just kicking them back. We can't post to anything different than what's on the turnover going forward, just so this alleviates any of this. And I do want to sit down with you guys. I think that's a great idea. Like I said, I've been trying to work with this already, so I think clarifying would be fantastic. And then she can have the set of account numbers right on there, so we can post them accurately based off of what's given to us, because that's technically the best practice. These are the department's account numbers, and they're responsible for them, and they should be reconciling with the accountant monthly. It's like that triangle kind of talk about. In our department, we take the turnovers. We want to make sure that the cash balances to the bank, and then we balance with the accountant. And then the accountant and the department need to work together on each account number and say, hey, I turned over 9,000 this hour, but I only showed 7,000. Where's the extra 2,000? Then we look at the turnover and say, oh, well, this 2,000 was posted to this account number. So it's very important to have those three different people involved. So I very much agree with you in that, but I just want to make sure that it's clear that these are the three different pieces. Like, we shouldn't be changing the account numbers. Whatever they're telling us to post to going forward is what we're posting to, because that's what they're writing on the turnovers. And we're just going to kick them back if, they don't have an account number on there, or if the account number is wrong, because we've kind of been working with them now for a couple of years to try and get the right ones on there. So I hope that makes sense.
Okay.
Keep going down the list, or do you have any questions?
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions so far. Thank you, Sarah.
No problem.
So it looks like the next one, license and permits.
Which number are we on? 10?
Yeah, oops. No, I was looking at just the ones that had notes next to them that we needed to change.
Oh, okay, license permits number 17.
Yep.
We estimated collecting 9,600, we actually collected 47,678. So 45,000 of this came from the building department, a large chunk. Came from, I guess, one of the solar projects.
Okay.
There may be a potential here that the accountants had put in as a placeholder 5K. You can increase it another 5K or so, or
Well, I guess we'd have to look, if we're reducing already by so much, we'd have to balance it out, right? I mean, we can't reduce,
I mean,
and we do have another addition down here, but
that from, I think, at the end of all, knowing what projects are coming down the pipeline, like for example, the increase in pilot payments for Springfield, the marijuana project,
Yep.
assuming all goes through, you know, it can be that we'll collect more than what we anticipated.
Yeah.
We may all balance out at the end of it, but I think to your point, it's a good practice or rule of thumb to balance it out.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like, so they gave us sort of a small number there to, as a placeholder, but we could go up higher if we wanted to.
About 5 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that was what the accounts were recommending.
Okay,
Investment income number 20. We've budgeted 2,300. We've actually collected 8,300. We're recommending another 4,000 here. To raise.
okay. So it looks like overall there's a $14,000 reduction and only a $9,000. So then you end up with a $3,000 reduction. I'm sorry, $30,000 reduction. 30. It's not even algebra, Kara.
It's about a $24,000 reduction. If we're reducing meals to 25.
So that goes down 8, and then the next one goes down 3, and then the next one goes down about 6. So that's 14 overall. But then you wanted to add 5 and add 4. So the difference there is 6, right? 5. So it's not that far up. Eric would be completely done with it down to the dollar by now if he was paying attention, but he's not. Okay.
Either way, these are, you know, again, these are.
Either way, it's, I mean, we collected more than we thought. That's great. So that extra that's collected will go into, eventually will go into our free cash.
Yeah, we'll get them. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
She's still there.
You're welcome, guys. I was trying to reach out to Eric Kincher, to see if I could get an answer for you, but I haven't heard back from him yet. So
Okay.
if I do, I will. I'll chime in and I'll give you guys a call back. Okay?
Hey, Sarah, do you happen to have the breakdown on the meals tax for each of the establishments?
No, I don't usually get those breakdowns, but I tried to reach out to the DOR to see how I could go about getting that for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
So I'll try and get that before the budget. Well, when are you setting this? Do you know?
Is this for in our 2 weeks meeting that we're setting the
Yeah, so
tax rate?
I mean,
Okay.
well, no, I was hoping to get this to Janice, I think out in tomorrow, I told
Okay. When are we setting? Oh, I just noticed you don't have a beard anymore. When?
the same thing.
Took me a while too. When are we setting the?
At your next one.
Okay.
2 weeks.
So 2 weeks, Sarah.
Okay, perfect. So I hopefully I'll hear this week. That's my goal. I figured I'd reach out to a couple other treasurers too to see if they have any sources that could, get me there a little bit faster.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So when I met the finance committee, they were fine with recommendations, with the exception to the reduction in the meals tax. That's when they wanted more information on that.
Okay.
I don't know how much of an impact, more or less.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to go one way or another, but what?
Yeah,
you guys
since
have
that
to
was,
take?
I mean, it was pretty close, the meals tax. But I'm not the expert by any means in this, so I will take any recommendations from the experts.
Well, the meals tax was pretty close, but we're just saying that now going into next year, what we'll actually collect, we anticipate.
Will be lower because of COVID. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
So
that's true.
We were kind of on the money when we budgeted, except that we don't know what it's gonna look like next time around. We're still talking about like short change, but we're not,
Yeah,
it's not anything I think
yeah,
we need to be concerned about. But
Yep.
obviously, we want to budget something realistic.
Yep.
Um,
okay. That's helpful. I don't know if we've ever looked at this before. It's helpful.
Well, now is what's that, so, you know, the accounting team, the treasurer, collector, they've been at it now for what, 2-3 years.
Yeah,
The more they reconcile, the more things become much more clear as they find money. Like, for example, number 10, fees. So they anticipated collecting 8,500.
mm-hmm,
They've actually collected 34,000 plus.
yeah,
The jump was because when the accounts were reconciliating, they found 21,000 sitting in an old collector account.
oh,
So they didn't have anywhere to put it, so they put it there.
okay,
So you know what I mean? Like as they reconcile more and they're figuring out, putting all the pennies together,
it was still up though, yeah,
it's
okay,
becoming much more clear.
Yep.
What the revenue position is for the town in these areas.
great,
We still got some. Obviously, we want to make sure that money is being posted in the right places. And,
yeah,
we're not missing anything. But it's much better than what we were before.
yeah, absolutely, thank you.
So I don't know, are you in agreement with some of these recommendations, or there's some that stands out to you, you want to look into more? Where does the board stand?
I guess my only thought would be the area for number 17 that has us adding just the 5. I would question if there's any way to raise that, just because that sort of balances it out.
Raise it to what, 10?
If you raised it to 10, it would be break even.
I don't think we can raise it because you had a big influx of building permits this year, $45,000 worth. Are we gonna have that next year?
Yeah. Well, it says building was 45, is that right?
45,000?
Yeah.
So if we only get one solar plant next
Yeah.
year, I don't know what the building permit's gonna be for the cannabis operation, but you could be substantially lower.
So maybe leave it, and then it's only $5,000.
You have one solar project to keep.
Okay,
There's some potential there.
but maybe leave it at just the 5, and then we're still
I
not.
would-
It's
I
not
would
that bad.
rather see us project lower and get more than project more and get less.
Yeah, true. I'm fine with it the way it is. I think you can, if you want to let them know Tom has a question about 17, maybe not increasing that 5,
Leaving it at 6-9.
leaving it at the 6.9. I guess just question why go up if it was so close with the additional 45 from building. Other than that, it looks good. Is Maple Lane plowing request? Do you want me to do that under action item?
Well, that
'Cause we have to
came to
approve
today,
it.
so I figured we can deal with it last until you go through the-
Okay. Okay, so next up we have our COVID-19 update from Jennifer.
Oh, wait, Sarah didn't add anything.
No, I hung up.
Hey,
No,
so-
I just called back in. I just wanted to let you know that Eric did respond to me.
Okay,
So just wanted to clarify. So, when it comes to revolving funds are not included in the estimated, for the local receipts. So I just wanted to clarify that. So of that, 23,000, the way it's broken out right now, only $399 is local receipts. The rest are in the revolving fund.
okay,
Okay, so I just wanted that the local receipts only the general fund, not revolving fund.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Sarah.
you're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Jennifer, I think, is on the line on one of the phone lines. She's not there anymore.
This is 86057.
Jennifer? Jennifer?
When she was here, her name was up there.
Yeah. No. Okay, so we'll wait on the COVID-19 update, see if Jennifer calls back in. Does anyone else have something?
Mary's talking, but I can't hear her.
No, she's muted. She's talking on her phone. Okay, Mary, do you want to unmute and talk to us about the gutter quotes? I see that you've got a leaf guard quote. Looks like the leaf guard quote was for, where's the total? $11,531.
Can you hear me?
There you go. You got to hang up one of those. I think you got us twice.
Out.
All right.
Okay.
Better.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello? I'm
Yes.
here.
Okay.
So are we.
I
We can-
can't,
Oh, is
I
your
can't
volume?
hear you.
Turn your volume up. Turn your volume.
I did.
Up. Okay.
Volume is all the way up.
She heard me say that.
I can
Right.
see you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Wave.
We must be delayed.
Well, and looking at this,
Okay, so we've got two quotes in front of us, one from Rivet Company for $9,458 and one for the leaf leaf guard for $11,531. So the leaf guard quote puts us over the $10,000 bid request situation.
So anything between 10 and 50, it's three prices.
Okay, thank you. But does it matter if we don't go with the lowest, just to know?
I would take the two bids because one of them's got a bunch of guarantees in it and the other one doesn't.
I'm just curious if there's some sort of like something binding us to go with the lowest bid,
I
but
don't believe so.
like you said, we're not really comparing apples to apples.
If we think that the other bid is superior in quality, then we can go with it.
Okay, so the Rivet gutter is just, it gives us some pricing. It gives us the prices for the install as well as the aluminum gutters and downspouts and cleaning the job site from the debris. And then the leaf guard is a bit more detailed. So the installation is 6,000, then they break it down to all the different pieces. And then we have a 2-year warranty on end caps.
End cap to end cap.
End cap to end cap, sorry. 20 inches, replace up to 20 inches of the fascia board. Lifetime no clog warranty, lifetime no pull, detachment, lifetime paint fresh. 2-year performance warranty and an instant rebate. 100% off labor discount. What do you think?
I would go with leaf guard because
You're waiting for one more.
I thought the one more just didn't get back to her and we were moving on. No?
No, there was one more, right? Mary, I think she's still trying.
Mary's phone is not working.
Yeah, I think she has a whole thing she wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So I guess we should just probably wait for Mary to.
And Eric's not
Just
with
your
us?
point, though, responsible person offering the needed quality supplier service at the lowest price quotation. That's
Okay.
applicable for 10 to 50,000.
Okay.
And then under 10,000, responsible person offering the best price.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we'll hold off on that. Let's look at,
I move we pass over this to.
Are you guys there?
yes, is that Jennifer?
It is.
Oh,
I had,
we were calling to you.
I know, and I had to hang up and call back in because I don't know what happened.
Okay.
But before we get to the COVID, I just, and I'm sorry that Sarah's not there because I tried to say something then, but our 2020 is more than 9,500. I mean, we've put in, there's at least over 10,000 that's not showing in that account for the
Okay.
2020. And I have been working with Sarah on that. And Josh, I think it would be a great idea if you did schedule something with me, Sarah, and the finance committee. That would be terrific.
Okay.
You got it?
I think that it's really important that we do that so that we're all on the same page because this whole thing's been a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, and then the other question I have is, where do you get the meals tax from? Does the state pay you? Because I pay the state. So then does the state pay you?
Yeah, no, I don't know for sure. I'm almost certain that that's the way it works. That they collect them and they give us an update on where these collections are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they take a piece of it too.
Let's be.
Because I give them the sales, they calculate the meals tax, and it's my understanding that they send you a check. If that's incorrect, then the state's being overpaid.
Give us 1 minute, Jen. We're trying to solve a echo problem.
Everything is off.
Okay.
Go for it, Jen, you're good.
All right, Jen, will you give us the COVID update?
Yep. So a couple weeks ago, we were doing okay. Since then, we've, in just the past couple of days, or actually over the weekend, we have received 3 new cases. And we all know that because of the size of the town and the numbers, that if we get many more, we're going to be back in the red. So cases which I do report to the town come strictly from Maven, where the contact tracing is done. We do not give out the names of anyone. Addresses per the governor's orders are only given to the fire department and police chief only. And I just had to make that statement because of an issue that had come up through the fire department. Also, the labs, I think, are way behind in time that are reporting these, because it appears that if I hear about a case just on, say, on the street, and I look for it in Maven, sometimes it doesn't come in until like 3 weeks later. And by that time, this person's already back out in the, in public, in society, and they're clear, they no longer have COVID. So my concern is becoming, you know, when they say we're in the red, are we really in the red? I mean, are these cases, I mean, they say that the dates, but somehow I think there's a disconnect between the time that we're getting it in Maven than the people actually having COVID. So, and that's kind of hard to help anybody when that happens. The what?
In the Maven system, when you get it 3 weeks, is there like a date?
Yes, and it's a current date, and it's a current date. So like one just came through and it stated that, you know, it was done on the 27th and, you know, they got the results on Sunday. It came through on Sunday through Maven. But, you know, the person is fine now. So it's just something that I have to work out with them. And I have a conference tomorrow at 9 with them. So I'm just going to bring those concerns up, but it's just something that I think that we should be aware of, because when we became in the red the first time, I was a little surprised after the fact that they were so late in telling us we were in the red. That's all.
We're not in the red currently.
There's really not much to report on. I'll have more on the vaccine next time. I'll probably do that on Monday. I know that you guys won't be meeting, but I'll send it through email. And I have no idea if anybody receives my emails, because nobody ever says got it or anything. So when I've sent them out. We did, November 23rd, we did get new guidance on resuming town meetings. So I know you have one coming up. I think it's in January. So when the time comes closer, I can go over that with you guys and Dave. And that's really it.
We have a town meeting in January? What is that?
Well, we were looking at, remember, there are two things.
You're looking at it. You don't have one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you have one in January, you know,
Okay.
I know you guys are looking at it, but when you do have one, they've got the new guidelines, and who knows, it might change again by then. So, you know, because everything just seems to be changing by the time I talk to you to, you know, 2 days later.
Yeah, fast moving. Okay, well, thank you for the update, Jennifer. Do you guys have any questions or?
Nope. And Josh, you're going to put together that meeting and email me?
Yeah, we'll get that straightened out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Got it.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Yep. Bye.
We were talking about the warranties that the Leaf Guard offered that the Rivet didn't. When I think you hung up or it wasn't working, whatever. So we saw the two different price options, the 11,531 versus the 9,458. But Tom was pointing out, it seemed that the one that's a bit more expensive offered a good warranty, and the other one didn't mention anything about a warranty.
I have one more price coming in that I would like to get.
You want us to wait?
I have been assured that it's less expensive.
Okay.
And if you could possibly hold off on that would be.
Will you just ask them, make sure to ask them if they offer some kind of a warranty to put that on there so that we can compare? Okay.
Yeah, the other one too. Maybe revisit their quote and ask them if they have warranties as well.
The Rivet?
Rivet.
Is it the Rivet one?
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't say anything here.
Right.
He said all materials guaranteed to be as specified, but there's no. Okay. You're welcome. Thank you. We have a department expense report.
We did a letter here about Long Road.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through the two more things on our agenda, and then I'll come back to that.
Tom, that came in today, so I figured you can talk about it on our new business after you go over your key items, unless you want to.
I don't mind getting it approved now. It's a yearly thing. All right, so we should be at what? What month is it? December. Almost 50%. All right, anything that stands out?
Josh, are we bringing up the snow blades, nuts and bolts?
Yeah, at some point we were gonna bring it up. I didn't want to go out of
Okay.
order.
Okay.
What, is he asking us for money?
Sorry.
Well, would this be a good time to?
Sure, I was just looking at highway.
Go ahead,
Looks
Ray.
like you're at 74% for that category. Are you,
Well-
you're short on that?
No, because it's a snow budget, it's allowed to go into deficit.
Yep.
I met with the finance committee pertaining to a situation that has come up. And I'd just like to say that typically it looks like you haven't really fully utilized that account for years. And one of the things we have done in this past year has gotten all the snow equipment up to be at peak performance. A lot of maintenance hadn't been done. We have taken care of that situation. The situation that occurred was the 2011 550 we have. We've done a lot of mechanical work and servicing on it through this past year to make sure that it's serviceable for another at least 5 to 8 years. And that being said, well, Tom has seen the vehicle. We just spent a lot of money having it sandblasted and painted and everything. But the plow unit for that truck was extremely worn out. When I priced it out to repair it and get it up to be in a ready situation, it came up to $4,600 minimum, $4,800 optimum, to get that plow to be completely up to snuff and be prepared to go. When it cost us $5,200 to put a whole complete new plow, frame, lights, electronics, everything installed on it. So I met with the select board. I met with the finance and with Josh, and we already went ahead to turn around and do this. I was prepared to take the excess out of expenses, but that being said, I did not want to because expenses could come up in the spring or later spring and early summer. And the winter budget being that it is allowed to go in deficit, I asked the finance committee and they had concurred that it would be a good idea just to go ahead, fix it, and already be in the deficit of that account. That being said, we really shouldn't need anything out of that account for the winter. If it's minor stuff such as hoses and everything else, we already have that on hand. As far as cutting edges and bolts and everything, we already have a supply of that. So I just wanted to ask the board to agree with finance that it was okay to go into deficit on that account at this time.
Brady,
Yeah.
explain to the select board, the project that's in the pipeline you're working on, or have worked on this, that requires this, this needed.
I can barely hear you, Josh.
He asked you to explain the project that you were working on that requires that need.
The project wasn't so much a project. It was basic maintenance that has eaten up most of that account because it's been a number of years they've been doing what they had to do. All right. So now the equipment has gotten to the point that it needed a lot of repairs. We've gotten all the equipment up to snuff except for the 550, the 2011. We spent a lot of money through the year out of the normal maintenance accounts and everything getting that truck up. And I think Tom could attest to the condition of that truck at this point is very, very good. The plow, however, has not been addressed. When I went to address that situation, it was going to cost at least $4,600 to make it serviceable. $5,200 with the municipality discount gave us a completely new unit, everything installed under warranty. And that's why I brought it to finance first. And now I was bringing it to the board so that it was understood why that account would be in a deficit this early in the season.
You're looking for what, was like $2,500?
Well, it basically, there was what, I think a little over 38 left in that account. I know there's more than 38, but there was a little over 3,800 left in that account, and there's a little over 52. It's not even 5250 to take care of the situation. So that would put it in a deficit of about $1,400-1,500 or so.
So
Okay.
So the truck currently has a makeshift
Yeah.
situation, and Randy, what he explained to the finance committee was to fix it the existing state without putting a new unit to make it whole as one to fix the makeshift. With a makeshift
Yeah.
is what costs more
Then to
than
replace
just
it.
replacing the whole thing. So that's
Well,
number
I
one.
think he should replace the whole, should have replaced the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's number one, but also number two, the spending strategy. We can either A, allow the snow and ice to go into the deficit, because we can,
Yeah.
roughly 1,500 or so, or B, supplement the necessary, the 1,500 or so from another account expense or whatever other line item. But after consulting with finance committee, sitting down with the highway superintendent, the recommendation is to allow for the deficit spend because we can, not knowing what we're gonna need the expense stuff later on. Then it come later on when it comes time to line
Yeah.
some transfer and we need to move things around and.
That's what I was gonna ask, if we
Then
could
we
just sort
can.
of wait on it and decide,
So
yeah.
what they're recommending, which finance committee supported, was the strategy of allowing the accounts to
Okay.
go into deficit, roughly 1,500.
That makes sense.
And on that note, Josh, thank you for explaining that better than I did. Is it would come out of like the expense account. Now that being said, come spring, I don't know what we're going to need. We might need something out of that expense account to cover other issues, but I would not be able to apply it to the winter account.
Yeah.
So that's why I was to allow us at this point to go into deficit on that particular account. And in the spring, if we don't need it out of the expenses, well, that would be able to compensate for it.
That sounds like a good idea. We'll just move it then if we can. If not, it's fine.
So what we're looking for is just.
Do you need a motion from us?
Yeah, motion in support of the strategy. Are you guys okay with moving in that direction too?
So motion, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I make a motion that we allow him to go into deficit on that account.
So highway plow blades, nuts, bolts, winter. In order to purchase a new plow.
We're not purchasing a new plow.
Sorry, in order to make the necessary repairs.
In order to purchase the new snow plow unit.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, question from Mary, go ahead.
So, excuse me, we're replacing the existing plow rather than repairing.
Correct.
Mary, those snow plows, after they've been rattled up and down the road, the steel in them gets brittle. So today, you spend half a day on this plow welding the push string. You get it so it looks beautiful, and you take it out for a couple of storms, and you hit a couple of rocks, and somewhere else in that steel, you're gonna have another break.
Yeah.
So if you just replace the plow, you've got X amount of winters that plow's gonna work with no problems.
Makes sense.
I would like to add one thing. It
Sure.
would cost a minimum of $4,600 to upgrade and mismatch that existing plow to make it work. It's $5,200 with our municipality discount to put a completely new unit, including all the electronics and everything, and it would be under warranty.
Yeah. Sold.
That clarifies that. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on. I did not see any issues with the budget. Any concerns, Tom?
Not yet.
All right.
Sure.
Not yet. Okay, so under new business, we also have the summary of resilient master planning. So Josh, give us a summary of the meeting from the 24th.
If I can, I'm gonna pass it to our.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. We appointed
And then I'll help fill in any gaps.
Mary as our chairwoman. Mary, would you like to give us a summary?
We convened, there were, I believe, 12 of us present, and we introduced everyone. Catherine Reddy has sort of conducted or guided the meeting and had everybody announce who they were, how long they lived in town, and what their area of either interest or expertise was. And then we had Joanne and I volunteered to do chair and co-chair.
That's right.
And we'll take it from there. We have
Excellent.
a survey that just came from them tonight.
Okay, did it?
That's
Okay.
gone out. And I did send out an email asking everybody for their preference for email contact, and I think I sent yours to Town of Blandford.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So if that's not where you want it sent, let me know.
That's fine. I have them both stream in to my phone.
Okay.
Just wanted to see if I got it.
No, good job. I think in all, how many folks?
12.
There were engaged too. Was that 12 in
12.
total? And there were two others that couldn't make it, but plan on participating throughout the process.
What's exciting is that we seem to have a really good representation across the board.
Yeah.
And we've got some old-time Blandford blood in there too, rather than just the newbies.
I don't see anything from you on my Blandford one, Mary.
It was on Saturday.
It was on Saturday? Yeah. I'm going back to November 12th. I don't see anything.
Oh, it's not that far back.
I'll send you my list, Mary, and then.
Oh, wait. I see something on the 27th. There it is. Okay, sorry. We know when someone responds to it and then it looks like it's from them. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Just to add to that, yeah, so when we initially met with the reps at PVPC, we spent most of the time just going over what a resilient master plan is and the basic functions of it. Obviously, I don't, none of us are master plan experts, so it was very helpful to know
Yep.
what each of the sections were, going over what the committee expectations will be. Those were some of the things we talked about. There will be a survey that Mary just talked about that will be mailed to every household, from what I understood. And not just mailed, it'll be picked up.
Survey Monkey,
Available
too.
electronically and hard copy.
There'll be a bit, yeah, right, so
Okay.
there'll be electronic version, hard copies for pickup, that we want to send out and collect.
Yeah.
As much feedback as possible.
Did you say we got a draft of that survey already?
It just came out tonight and Josh graciously sent it on.
Okay.
So we're hoping to get,
So we can add any thoughts to it and then,
right, so the committee currently is providing feedback. to
Yep.
the survey, and the deadline for that is December 8th.
oh, there it is. Okay. Okay.
And the committee, originally, it had selected every third, I guess it's more for you to know, every third Tuesday right at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
but we moved it to every third Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Instead, so.
So our next meeting is the 17th.
Yeah, December 17th. The Pioneer Valley Planning Commission is also working on a website. Well, it's really a landing page. It's gonna be the database that's gonna hold all the information throughout this process.
Okay.
Which will be neat, so members of the public will be able to log right on, read minutes, past.
Oh, that's great.
agendas. Mary had a good idea to include past town plans, like, for example, development plan that was done, what, over a decade ago or so?
I want to say 2002, we had a great open space plan done then.
Yep.
And there was also another build-out plan that put us at a population of 19,000 by next year.
Yeah. It's a lot of births.
So,
And
there are more than one.
Yeah.
out there.
the,
Okay.
MVP action grant, the MVP, resilient, plan that was developed in 2019. So we're posting there so that folks,
Okay.
you know, there will be also, on the website, access to the survey.
Yep.
So it'd be good, but it's gonna be a good website, webpage dedicated for the project for folks to be able to follow the process if they wanted to. But overall, I think we're off to a good start and hopefully we can continue to maintain the momentum, so.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Okay, so we have a couple other items for new business. We have a letter from Maple Lane residents asking, the yearly letter, asking the town to plow the road. So I would make a motion to, plow Maple Lane Road this winter, as we've done in the past. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We also have a thank you letter that Josh drafted for us. Bellefleur, was very successful with their turkey giveaway. And a couple residents mentioned to me how much appreciated it was given the current economic climate. They had family members that had been laid off and they were really thankful to have a turkey, free turkey. So Josh drafted a letter from the town, from the select board to Bellefleur. On the behalf of the town of Blandford, we want to thank you for distributing turkeys to town residents as families navigate the COVID environment and mitigate its impact. We are certain that your generous donation has helped, made sure that on the day of Thanksgiving, joy and happiness endures. We hope you had a safe and healthy Thanksgiving and wish you a much happier New Year. So I've signed that. Tom, that's for you to sign. Thank you. That's perfect. I love it. So that's all I have for new business. Josh, do you have any new business?
Nope, just to let you know
Oh.
that at your next meeting,
Oops.
on the agenda, you can expect the board of assessors will present the tax rates, tax rate.
Okay.
I'll also include the renewal of the alcohol licenses
Okay.
as well. And whatever else comes up between now.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to move forward with doing Santa at town hall? Because we do have to move on that.
So I spoke to the president of the association who wanted to talk with the membership body,
Okay.
and then they'll get back. I'm not sure.
I think Wednesday night.
I reached out to Nicole Davio to see if the library wanted to be part of it in any way. Whether we set it up, she's just so good at marketing. I just haven't heard back from her yet, but I put together just a Google spreadsheet that I thought we could share and parents could just sign up. I think, I'm not a tech whiz, but I think it would work if people it's a shared doc, and if they have access to it, they can just pick a time. It sounds simple, but I'm sure there will be some sort of chaos last minute, but we'd need to find a Santa and then a location.
Well, I'm sure we can get the same Santa that we've had before.
Yeah,
I think Matt will still do it.
okay.
You're talking about the Santa.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no other Santa.
there's a- my, yeah,
Just gotta
yeah.
Give Santa a call.
We just have to-
Make sure he's.
Sometimes I text them, I threaten, I will text. Okay, perfect. So if I hear back from Nicole and everyone sounds interested, then we can do it.
I'll talk to Matt Wednesday night.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let us know.
Keep me in the loop on what I can.
Yeah, I know rec is crazy busy.
Certainly there's funds for rec center.
but you, well,
The two of us.
The two of you. the only two rec people are busy.
But obviously there's money in there too.
Okay.
Use for Halloween, so.
Yeah, I don't know as far as funding. I mean, my thought was just some sort of a nice backdrop. I mean, the library would be a nice place if we set up a nice chair and then just had a camera on them. But this is the best tech place I think we have to set it up. It's not perfect. I don't know if we could maybe use a bookshelf. I don't know. We'll figure something out. So I don't think it should really cost.
Well, between Greg and I think the president there, when we're talking about it, I think they all have backdrop decorations. We could just create a backdrop.
Okay,
Set it up here in front of the camera.
okay. That would
What
work.
about Santa suit?
We have a Santa suit, I think.
Yeah, I believe the fire department.
I mean,
does.
Santa has a Santa suit, right? I mean,
There's a Santa suit around there. I'm
Santa.
pretty sure of that.
Santa has a Santa suit. Okay, anything else? New business, other business? No, all right. We will adjourn at, what time is it? 7:46. I thought it was sort of interesting that Watson Park Road got a 5 on a scale of 1 to 100.
Worst part.